Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the March Plan with Me video. Now, this month's theme, I decided to go with pandas. Initially, I had something very different in mind, but there was really not much of a clear idea of how I wanted to go about it. So, I decided to go with a panda theme inspired by a friend. Um, she reminds me of a panda. But yeah, I thought something cute would be better, and it was a bit of a change. Now, the biggest contemplation was what medium was I gonna use for this theme. It was clear I wanted something fairly quick because I didn't have a lot of time on my hands and I wanted to not complicate my life. So I simply went with markers. As you can see, I'm actually running out of my black Tombow pen, and it kind of worked very well to like give out that texture of fur for um, the pandas. I did use pencils to just add in like a bit of dimension to the pandas and not make it look like completely flat, a slight bit of shadow. And as you like, this front cover page was some that I included it to be my monthly calendar. I wanted it to be a little different from what I've previously done for this year's journal, and I felt like this was a fairly simple spread. I didn't want to focus too much on a cover spread, but rather just focus on having pandas all over this month's spread and keeping it a little more simple rather than trying to have a cover page with a quote. And it was just to break out of the monotony of the last 2 months. I kind of really like this panda like leaning over the monthly calendar like it's a board. I tried to use bamboo as the header for the months. It was just to keep things really, really simple this month and a little more minimalistic than I'm used to. I wouldn't call this theme minimalistic in any way, but it is far more simpler than what I'm used to doing for my spreads. Because I like to have a lot of done on each spread and all of it. Now on the right, I just decided to draw bamboos, and I feel like I didn't do a very good job at it, but it ended up looking pretty good once I filled it in with color. I am using my Crayola markers for this, and it was fairly simple. I think it was a fun way to go about using markers because I'm not used to using markers on a regular basis, and I did want to add a little bit of a quote as well on this page. The quote I decided to go with was "Start before you're ready." I just found it a little more apt for situations in life at the current moment, and I felt like it would be more motivating for me for the upcoming month. Now, I did do write March vertically. Like the lettering here was like, how am I gonna do this? It was really hard to figure out in the initial, especially the M for March. I was like, I really like it, but I just don't know how I was gonna figure out the lettering. But eventually I did manage to fit it in, and I do end up liking the colors and how the spread did end up turning out. Not how I expected it to be, as always. It never ends up being as I expected to be, but it did end up turning out to be very different because sometimes you've just gotta go with the flow of things. Also, I last year I did go see some pandas and I took a lot of inspiration from all the pictures that I had. Now, I did want to add like a green border to this March thing, and I'm just sticking by the colors, and I did end up cutting the page. I used some washi tape to just cover up some blank spaces that were around that I felt was a little too much so that we could add more. Now, the next page that I'm working on is my planning page. I decided to add this weird tray here and some bamboos, just not going overboard with the panda, but yes, the panda is coming there. There is going to be a panda on the page. It wouldn't be a panda theme unless there was a panda, but I felt like doing trees and bamboos was also like a part of it, and I felt I wanted to keep it really simple when you have the cover or the first page flipped, so it just looked like there were trees and bamboos on the other side of the page as well. Now, for this one, I don't think I outlined it from what I remember. I just made sure to keep it very simple with like the markers, because I was really contemplating if outlining it was a good idea at some point. I just tried to darken everything with a darker pen. Now, this is kind of like the goal page or setting the for my week. I didn't want to draw really simple boxes, so I added these leaf kind of motifs to the sides of each box. Whilst I was doing this, I did realize that March does have 5 weeks instead of 4, but I only adding 4 of them out of the 5. So I was like, that's fine. Like, we all make mistakes in life, and that was one of mine. But I tend to realize it a little too late when I had already planned out how each spread was going to be, and I wasn't finding any space to add it in, or I didn't want to like move things around to add it in any way. So I just let it be, and if needed, I would probably just, work with it maybe in my weekly spread in a way when I get to it. At that point, it wasn't something that I wanted to stress about in any way. Now, on the right, I did draw like a sleeping panda on, and for like all of these spreads, I did try to use basically like the headers for things I would write in to use like for pandas. Like in the initial page, you saw like a panda holding on to the planner, and so this one's kind of sleeping on a header as well. And I kind of feel like the running out of Tombow was like kind of a good thing, because if I added more to it, it would literally darken and add like a shadow effect and everything else, because I know they would have black fur, but it was just kind of adding more dimension to these things. And there you see, I have added the header that it is kind of leaning on and just sleeping over, and I decided to draw this like wave line just to cover up a bit of that space. I know I could have added the 5th week there, but I just wasn't feeling it like at that point. Now, this is usually kind of like a planning / reflection page. Now, I did add some washi tape to balance it out, just to add some more room to it. Now, the pages next are actually my tracker page. So for this month, I just decided to have my mood and my habit tracker on one page. And in the center, I decided to draw this panda eating a bamboo that is actually inspired from a picture of a panda that I took when I was back in Singapore last year. And I was like, okay, I have to do this because they're really happy chewing up on bamboo, and I was like, this feels like a cute way to go about it. And I got to see them have their bamboo chewing time and eating time and I was just like, okay, I'll put it in the center as like just in a circle. And as you can see, like this isn't like too much. Okay, there are times when I like to do too much in my bullet journal, but this is one of those times where I wasn't like, I wanted to do much for this month, and I wanted to keep it like I wanted it to be there but not too dominant in a way. Now the habit tracker, I decided to do like a vertical grid, so I wasn't drawing individual habits. And a cute idea that I had regarding this habit tracker was, instead of writing what hobby it is, I kind of drew these symbols for each of them. Now the mood tracker here is actually just bamboo. I think I did mess this one up a bit, which I had to like clean up later. Ended up really messing this one out. But I do end up like correcting it down the line, as you'll see. So yeah, 31. I did have a few extras, which I would probably color it in once I'm done filling the habit tracker, but I did number them down and have leaves coming out of it, which seems interesting. It was just also this month, the expense tracker was kind of in a different place, because I was like, I don't know if I want to keep an expense tracker this way. I just wanted to bring about some change in my bullet journaling, and I was like, I want to try new things. They may work, they may not work, but but I was just happy trying to kind of break out of the monotony that I would keep doing with all my spreads. It's very easy to get and slip into the same habit and repeating the same thing. Now I did do this cute little panda holding on to like a tree trunk in a way. The idea came from like seeing a panda sleep on a tree branch and just hanging on to it. And I was just afraid the panda was going to fall at one point, and it was a baby one. So this one is actually my gratitude spread, because initially I wanted to keep it out, and I was like, but no, I really need a gratitude spread. And it's one, and I was like, you know what, we can move the expense tracker to another page. And I was like, I need to do this gratitude spread for me, because it's like really important. Like I wouldn't miss out on it. It's something that I really enjoy having in my journal now. And again, washi tapes to just add more to each page without like leaving. Now this next page is actually my weekly. You'll see how on the left, where I decided to just add more bamboos, but like create like a scene with the pandas where it's like sitting, eating, and like just looking out around like in its scenic place. That was the idea, and I really like how it turned out. I wasn't expecting it to turn out this good with just a bunch of markers. I'm not used to using markers, so this was really new and different for me. Of course, I did end up using color pencils at various places, but I tend to like lean onto markers for a lot of reason. It was also really fun to do this one. As you'll see, like I tried to keep more variation of color in the bamboos, with more different types of green that I use. Some of them are really bright, some of them are more olive colored, or like more sage, a little more dull. It was just it was fun to try new things and bring it to this kind of a look without actually trying to outline things. I really don't like outlining a lot of things. I do tend to do it on an occasion, but outlining is something I don't know, it just doesn't suit too well with me. So yeah, this was because the page on the opposite side was going to be um, having layers because I'm gonna have weeklies for each. And again, this was more like the panda was facing in the opposite direction. Now, instead of drawing like a black line, I did draw a line with green. Now I'm cutting tabs for my journal, and I kind of wanted to not keep it whites, and neither word did I want to do this page green in any way because we'd already used so much green, but I had used this blue as an accent in various places in the spread. So I was like, I want to do this muted blue here just to have like a color contrast and not make it too green. Now each tab I decided to make like a cute panda face on it for each week. Um, this was just something that I thought on a whim, and I was like, it would look really cute if I did this. So each week is numbered, and they have this really cute panda face, either like eating or just doing like some action, laughing, or just it I didn't put as much focus into it as much, and I made it a little more sketchy and like, you know, like just, you know, put together like I was making a rough sketch on the go with a panda or something. I did try to like use a pencil to sketch it out so that I don't miss the panda, like mess it up in any way. As you can see, like it's just pandas from like different angles and all of it. Now I on this weekly spread is a lot different from what I've done for the last 2 months. I am just trying to figure out a new way that I like to do things because I'm very used to like keeping things in one way, that I want to like really figure out what I really like about each spread and which of my spreads are like really favored. So I do have a task list on the left side of my page, and I end up adding my expense tracker and my productivity tracker on this left side along with my task list, which was kind of really convenient because I wanted to try something different with the expense tracker as well, which I was wondering last month if I could do something. And this did work out in a very good way. Like this spread, I'm really liking this weekly spread though. It's one of my favorites from all time, but I want to see how it works for me when I use it. And on the right, I was just gonna have the 7 days of the week, where again I messed up and I added only 6 out of the 7. So I split up Saturday into like half and turned it into a weekend. Now that's all I have for this video because I never did a review page. But thank you for hanging out with me, and enjoy the flip through for this month. Bye!